everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Oh, y'all in the comments early. Y'all in the comments early. Peace and love, peace and light. Everybody tapping in. Yeah. Early to class. Pen in your pad, man. Let's go. What's happening? Hey, man, listen, man. Hit that share button, man. Hit the share button. We're not even going to start till we get at least 100 people watching. It's not even worth my time. Share this shit. Share it. Facebook. Y'all on Facebook. Y'all on YouTube. Everybody on Facebook, man. Hit that goddamn share button, man. Let's turn up, man. 100 viewers. 100 viewers, and we're not going to do it tonight. They got 100 off the rip. You get started. Let's go, man. We're tapping in tonight. Man. My background music back. Yeah. Shouts out to Trip Jesus, man. Did this thing. Killing it. Get these comments popping, man. Let's go, man. Share. There we go. Share. Hey, as a matter of fact, once you share it, type in share. We're not going to go until we get more viewers. We'll be all fucking night. Share it. Let's go. Trump TV Network, man. The whole fucking movement now. Y'all don't wait too late. Should have joined when we had the chance. Peace and light to everybody. And the viewers are going up too. Yeah, there we go. Peace and light, peace and light. Check this out. Let's show the appreciation Cash App at the bottom of the screen, man. You got a treat tonight. I'm going in. Shout out to Bob. I think his name was Bob. The past owner or founder of Cash App. Tap into this Cash App. Come on, man. All donations, taking all of them. $1, quarter, $5, $10. Tap in. How do I get more of your teaching? Listen, I'm so busy, sis. I be trying to hop on here on Promptly as much as I can. So made a commitment this week. I'm going in this week. I don't go live every day. I'm gonna go live every other day. You gotta kind of catch me. You can catch me. I'm here. I'm here. Never going nowhere. Peace and light. So read L. Shout out to the L's and the Bays, man. The wheels and the waves. We're still out here, man. Doing the work, man. The real movers are doing the work, though. Not the ones who just talking. The ones out here doing the work. Being industrious. Uplifting, following humanity. We're in the building, man. All right. Viewers are going up, so I feel like it's safe to bring in the guests, man. Now, I've been knowing this brother for a while, man. Long time. Seen the brother grow over the years, do great work. This brother has put himself and his family in harm's way to speak his mind and to just stand on truth, man. And truth ain't favorable because Christ said you should be crucified for truth. But the truths never fade nor pass away. And this good brother, man, was definitely doing the work, been doing the work. I've been inside of legislative floors, getting laws passed, getting things done, man. I've had the pleasure of being in a courtroom, dealing with various law officials to see how they treat this brother, man. And the brother's been tried and true, man. Without further ado, Brother Kenick, peace and love.
Islam, my brother. Peace and love.
How you feeling, brother?
I'm Moorish, man. All is truly well, brother, man.
Islam.
All is truly well.
So listen, man. I hate we couldn't get you on here last night, but we're here today.
Yes, sir.
And man, I know you got a treat for these people, man. We can jump right into it, but tell the people who you are, man.
Islam. First I rise. I give complete and perfect praise to Allah, who is the author, creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. I ask in honor to his prophet, my prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for restoring our nationality and our birthrights here in Northwest of Mexico. Give honors to the harbinger to the prophet Marcus Messiah Garvey. I ask in honor to all past and present leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America, to all the groups, everyone that's doing their part to uplift all of humanity. I give honors to you. Honors to my good brother Ponda L, Minister of Information. Brother, you've been doing wonderful work with disseminating information to the best of your abilities. Honors to all of you that can hear the sound of my voice. Honors to my beloved brother Crumb, my brother Bowers L. That brother is a wonderful brother as well. I'm very proud to see the work and what you guys are doing and happy to be a part of it. But yeah, I'm just your brother, man, and friend, Brother Kenick L. I'm a servant. I'm a faithful member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Done lots of things in the community, whatever, but it's just regular community work. But at the end of the day, I'm just your brother, man, and friend. I serve as a Grand Sheik here in a local branch temple. That I am your equal, your brother, and your friend. And honored to be here today to share my portion of understanding around finances, man. Let's get to it, man.
Hold on, find these quotes right quick. So, listen, family. This is the infamous. I would say infamous because that means infamous.
Oh man,
infamous brother made word. Listen, it was crazy to me. I'm like, man, I know this dude, man. That man, he has no ill intentions for it. You made the world news, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Wow.
Malcolm X talked about the media and what they would do. and it's happened. But I like to, like I said, I'm a regular brother. I made the news and all that stuff, but I just like to be regular, man. Like, I'll think of one famous quote. I like to share this quote before I start speaking. And I appreciate the honors because, praise Allah. When man honors man, he honors Allah. So I appreciate it, brother. And it's well received. But I do like to emphasize, especially as we engage in this dialogue around this very sensitive and important topic and subject, because it impacts everybody in the world. Let's just remember one of my favorite quotes from Confucius that I always like to bring up, which Confucius says, if you meet a person better than yourself, turn your thoughts and become his equal. And if you meet a person not as good as yourself, look within and examine your own self. So just keep that in mind as we're going through this. There are some things that I may have a more of a better portion of understanding around, as there's some things that brother MOI may have, the listening audience may have. We all have our things, but let's really get serious, because right now, in the spirit of what we're here to talk about, let's get to it, man. The money is changing. There's some significant things happening.
So let's first just get your take on the money, and before we do that, just so all minds and hearts are clear, and we in the same spirit, I also want to rise and praise and honor to Allah, and I give honor to all the prophets of Allah. I give honor to all His messengers. I give honor to the Mahdi, the guide, the Mujenta, the reformer, who all sent forth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give honor to the Honorable Noble Drew Ali. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get into some of his messages here later. Because, hey, man, the brother said, if you doubt I'm a prophet,
watch them prophecies.
Watch the prophecy. What's more prophetic about what you about to say when it comes to pass? So,
oh, man. Yeah, brother.
What is it that's happening to the American economy that has not happened before? I feel like it's just a repeat, man.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to find the actual statement so I could read it verbatim in the from the oral statements of the prophet. Many of you, if you don't know, you should be familiar with Noble Drew Ali. He is Allah's prophet. He was sent to restore our nationality and birthrights here in Northwestern Mexico. And there's a couple of things that he said that when I read this book years ago, when I read his teachings and lessons, I was like, man, this can't be that serious. This dude ain't right. But then I read a great book by Grand Sheikh Cujo Adwil El. Honors to the Grand Sheikh Cujo El. He wrote a great book entitled, I can't remember the name of this book, but it talks about the prophecies coming to fruition. And he actually showed in this book many of these oral statements that Noble Drew Ali stated and how they came to pass. But the one I'm going to read is number 167 in the oral statement booklet that I have right here.
So 167?
Yeah, number 167.
Hold on, pull it right here. I got it right here. All right. Yes,
Whoa.
sir.
The Holy Prophet said, one day you will see a $20 bill in the street and will not bend over to pick it up. So let's deal with this one, for example, just for tonight. And there's another statement he said, I don't have it in front of me, but in my Morris literature, in the literature, he says that money doesn't make the man. It's free national standards and power that makes the man and the nation. So these are the two primary statements that Noble Drew Ali expressed a long, long time ago, and they're happening today. So particularly this finance, I mean, look, let's just deal with that walking by $20 bill and not pick it up. I don't want to get into too much detail around it because we've been educating me for many years now. We got an upcoming event on Eventbrite. You can go in there and type in Financial Literacy 2023. You can see the upcoming educational forum we're going to be having around it. But the short version is the money's worthless. Okay. The dollar is not recently collapsing. It's been collapsed. It's been useless since Nixon took us off of the gold standard in the 70s. The collective consciousness is just coming around where people are realizing this and people are starting to examine and think about what's going to happen. So the first thing I would like to tell everybody to do is to not panic. First and foremost, don't panic. All right. What I see what's happening is a few things, and this is just my portion. I say this respectfully, but this is really what I see. the fall of the dollar being the world reserve is the final straw of the fall of white supremacy. Um, that ideology of white supremacy, which is a falsehood, is dying out. The effects of colonization have been felt all around the world, and all nations are now at a point in time where we just need to restore and take care of ourselves. So the end is the end of the consumer-driven economy. That's what is really taking place. And moving forward, you're going to have to be industrious in this new era of time now. The days of just stockpiling and stacking money, it doesn't do you any good. Cash is not an asset. Cash is not king. It has not been an asset for many, many years. So this isn't new stuff. This is just we didn't take the time to do our research. But if you take your time and do research around these things, I mean, the brother got some of the examples on the screen. It's very public information. So in 2023, really the petrodollar has collapsed. So that's what we're dealing with now. The petrodollar has collapsed. So, you know, the BRICS agreement and many countries have come together and formed their own type of currency that they're going to be using. A lot of stuff is going digital. Bitcoin, blockchain technology is here. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be here just like the internet going to be here. You know, it is what it is. So it right now should be a time that I believe what people should be doing, because that's the number one question people have been asking. Well, what do we do? How do we prepare? I'm gonna say the same thing we've been saying for 3 years now. Integrate your industrious acts into the blockchain. What does that mean? That means first, be industrious, man. What can you make? What can you do that can be beneficial to all? What is your value, your contribution to society? What is the talent committed to your charge? What did Allah bless you with, or the great God, or the universe, or the Most High, Jehovah, or Zeus, whoever you may believe in? But what is the talent that you have that you can contribute to all of humanity? Whatever that talent is, that's what we're going to start with. Let's cultivate that talent. Let's create a product or a service that we can all use and benefit. So that would be step one. Identify what you want to do, what you can do that can help us all out. Because that's just the basics, so you can be able to trade and live and do things. The second thing I would encourage everybody to do is just to get educated, man. And educate yourself. Tune in to these type of platforms. Tune into other shows and do your research around it so you can have knowledge around it, because nobody really knows exactly when it's going to happen. And I even go to what Noble Drew Ali said in his prophecy. He prophesied that it would happen, but he didn't really say when. He said we'll walk by a $20 bill and not pick it up. That it caught my attention when I found out about Bitcoin and central bank digital currency and all that good stuff and how it works. I'm gonna deal with that 1 second. The buy crypto comment. I'm gonna talk about that briefly too. But with Noble Drew Ali, when I'm making that comment in that prophecy, he just told us that it'll happen. When I found out about crypto and Bitcoin and CBDC, I saw the how. I was like, oh, so this is how it could happen. And then I started paying attention, and everybody saw Bitcoin take that really high rise, and it peaked almost $65,000 for one Bitcoin, and then it dropped again. And why was that? You just put a great point on the screen. People said buy crypto. I would say this around it. This is not financial advice. Everything I'm saying is for educational purposes only. I am not here to tell you what to do with your money and your finance. That's up to you. I'm here to cover basic stuff and just speak to that. I would, my view, okay, if I'm going to buy any crypto, I'm going to research the white paper on that currency to understand how it works. All right. I got to do research around the company that created the coin or the currency. I got to find out, like I said, from the white papers, what's the practical use of it, and make sure I support that and understand how to use it. Like you could buy a car in Bitcoin in some places.
Yep.
And that's the thing. If you don't understand the practical use of it, see, a mistake that I believe many people are making is they're applying the traditional stock attitude to crypto. And that's the attitude of buy low and sell high, right? So if a coin is worth 10 cents, you buy it. When it shoots up to $1, you sell it, and you make 90 cents per coin. Okay, you buy 10,000 of them. That's a significant profit, so to speak, that you'll make, correct? And that's the traditional mindset that people are applying to crypto. The challenge is that crypto is not stock.
What is it?
Crypto is currency. Currency is a medium of exchange. It's a type of money. And the problem that I think we apply to money is that we don't really know money for real. We don't really know how it works. We don't really know the Federal Reserve System and how it actually works.
That's right.
We just apply what we learn, first you get the money, then you get the power, then they'll respect you, right?
Yeah.
That's what we thought. That's the attitude that many of our people take towards financial literacy. And we're suffering today because of economic slavery. So for step one, and look, we have I'm going to say this again. I'm going to send you the link, brothers. If you can put this link in the group chat for those that may be interested.
Yeah. Send it over.
I'm about to send you this link right now. And there's a link to a
What are you emailing it to me?
No, I'm going to text it to you, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to text it to you. This link is an Eventbrite link to an upcoming educational session that we're having this Thursday. We're going to actually starting this Thursday, but we'll be rotating every other Thursday. One Thursday will be on the finances. The following Thursday will be on politics. Those are two areas that we got to get educated in really, really fast as a people. But hold on, let me send you this link because I'm terrible at multitasking. Because you really can't multitask. The brain can only do one thing at a time. All right, so I'm back. So a couple things. So first off, right? Oh yeah, this is what I'm going to share them too. Everybody needs to go back and listen to the recent hearing that they held, the semi-annual meeting on the finance committee, on the financial report that Congress held. It's about 3 hours long, but it's worth your time if you want to follow the money.
Right.
But yeah, so the Federal Reserve, you got to understand how these folks work. The link I just sent you, we got an upcoming PowerPoint where we really have created, and honor to my beloved brother Crumb for helping me put this together. We put this PowerPoint together. This is not what's looking at on the screen, but the PowerPoint that we're going to be reviewing in a few days, it covers everything in detail. And this was put out in 2020 when we first organized this. When we first learned out about the CBDC, central bank digital currency, and traveled around the country, educating people, setting up their wallets, trying to prepare us for it. Many people thought we were crazy because we were following what Noble Drew Ali said. And we turned out to be accurate because we're following the prophet. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm just applying what common sense and conventional wisdom is telling me to do. If I hear something that makes sense, I'm going to dig deep and research and find out how it works. And that's all I did. And once we found out how real it is, it was like, yo, this is serious business. This is going to impact everybody, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. And what my concern is this. My concern is all the people. Imagine how many people were taught that their value in society was based off of their monetary contributions.
Everybody
their net
is
worth. Everybody.
It's perpetuated.
So this false narrative that Kanye showed you last year, it didn't matter. He didn't care about none of that. Many people have shown you that. It's an illusion. So it's like that bubble is popping. And I think you just need to know how it works. And I think we need to diversify our currency. Let's talk about resolution because I don't want to just talk about it loosely. I want to make sure we understand some real stuff we can do. Diversify your currency. Yeah, buy you some crypto if it makes sense to you and you understand the white papers of that. All right.
What are white papers on?
The white papers on every currency. Every currency has a white papers, and it breaks down the purpose of the papers. I mean, the purpose of the coin, why it was created. There's a link you can go to. What is it? Crypto. Man, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have it up in front of me.
That's all good.
Because I didn't want to be too technical tonight. I really want to kind of address.
Man, go in.
Yeah, I do, bro. But I really want to address the questions from the people, man. Because from what I just want us to remain calm. I don't like the fear and anxiety from my people. So I tell them, like, look, if you let's start with the comment I made earlier, right? Do you see how the dollar is the final stronghold of white supremacy?
But wait though, wait,
Mhm.
because we're talking about the collapse of the dollar, but the Amero is about to pop off now. Though, ain't nobody mentioned the Amero yet. Nobody has mentioned the Amero since 2020.
But I'm a
I talked about the Amero back when
yeah.
they dropped it. So people got to realize is that the money, the paper that we have, they're gonna swap the paper out, y'all. That's it. And because the Americas really have the fucking resources. The America, North, Central, and South America has way more fucking resources than y'all care to even know. So we really have enough oil reserves in Alaska alone to sustain us for at least 300 years. You know what I'm saying? Like we really got shit over here. So I think now what's about to happen is it's a marrow about to pop off. That's gonna be the answer to what they're doing. This is what I predict.
Right. But I would say this, man, regardless of the medium of exchange that we use, it's about building assets. I think there was a comment you shared earlier. It said consumer versus producer. Somebody had commented and said, and that's the mindset we have to shift to. We have to shift from the consumer perspective of just trying to consume and buy things and really start production. Thank you, honestly, Teresa. Great for that consumer versus producers comment, because that's really what the shift, I believe, from us as a people that we need to be focusing on. This is an opportunity for us to be industrious and produce some things. All right. So that's why, going back to the point of what can you make? What can you create? That's what we need. We don't need people just consuming and buying and just sitting on paper.
And really, when it comes to that, we're gonna dominate. If we do it the right way, we're gonna dominate. If we aggregate all our resources, because I know anybody that work with your hands, and I've been in all the high school systems, they're about to put workshop and wood shop and auto mechanics back in high schools now.
Yes.
Because what they did, they took it out of high schools and turned them to technical colleges and charged you for the shit. But technical colleges are losing enrollment. I worked at 3. It's always an enrollment idea, enrollment thing. Because kids now looking at YouTube and learn how to do tricks and trades and shit.
Right.
Anymore. So they're gonna put it back in the high school, man. And I'm glad for that, especially for our community, because we can become the real producers again, like we always been. So it's a great point.
Yeah, man. That's going to be our bread and butter moving forward. Our ability to produce and create and trade and barter amongst one another. The biggest thing that I like one thing I like about the whole crypto thing is I like the peer-to-peer concept. I like the idea of bartering to where, hey, I have something of value, you have something of value, I'll trade with you. And what medium of exchange we use, let's deal with it, man. Go ahead. I know how you do in your teaching, so I think it's good to break down these terms, because I know
I want people to really get what you're saying.
Yeah.
A consumer, a person who purchases goods and services for personal use, a person or thing that eats and uses something. That's all we've been doing collectively. It's buying. We buying the fucking Prada. We're buying the Balenciaga. We're buying the fucking Maybach. We're buying the big houses. We're buying the jewelry. We not producing nothing.
Right.
Nothing. Now, there's a couple of entrepreneurs out there, but even at the entrepreneur level of owning your own store or storefront, where are your goods and your services coming from?
China.
Exactly. Like, there's no direct consumer. Like, you have no place of operation other than Asia. Let's just say Asia, because it's China and India too, right? And they're producing, and it's not really the Middle East, because the only thing they're producing is oil, right? They don't even have a major export other than oil. They can't feed themselves. Anything that comes into the Middle East is imported food.
Right.
They can't grow fucking food there. There's no greenhouses there yet, right? So everything is imported. When it comes to the global power structure, the more resources you have, and the better you can protect your resources, and the better you can leverage your resources, the better off you'll be. I think collectively, even if all of us became more industrious, we would have to aggregate our resources. And Dr. Claude Anderson explained this shit perfectly. Of this tower, we have to create amongst ourselves. So we got 1,000 so-called Black people entrepreneurs out here doing their thing and grinding, and they're getting to the bag. But they're going to white banks. They're putting their money into white banks, white banking institutions, and they're moving out of the hood into other communities, which the taxes go to that community and that's our own community. So it's a lot of mechanics, I think, too, bro, that we have to understand collectively, not just getting to the money, investing in Bitcoins. Like there's a whole attitude shift that's happened with us.
I agree. I agree 100%. And the first step to help bring about that shift is you gotta understand nationality. You're gonna need a nation. Without a nation, and this is because that's a significant part of cooperative economics, as we're talking about social and economics. Before we get to the economics, we got to address the social aspect. This consumer mindset we have, we got to break that. We got to be industrious. We got to start creating, producing, working with our hands. We have to properly identify who we working with. Because if we're gonna do cooperative economics, are you gonna cooperate? Are you gonna move with the spirit of nationhood? And that's the first step. And then we just trade amongst one another.
That's it.
You know, and so it's not, this ain't the time to panic. I think that's my only thing. I just want us to remain calm, recognize that, y'all, this is, I think, a good thing. I really do. I think it's more of a good thing. I think it's going to help us way more than it's going to hurt us.
Major, I want to read this real quick. This is social consumer behavior. They study peer groups of what you consume, what you buy, how you do it. Check this out. Social factors represent another important set of influences on consumer behavior. Specifically, these are effects of people in groups influencing one another through culture and subculture, social class, reference groups, and family. It goes back to the nationality piece right here by itself. Imagine if in America, so-called Black folks were to leverage our culture, leverage our social classes, leverage everything about ourselves, and we become the producers of that one thing. And what I mean by that, everybody and their mama are making money off of our culture, whatever culture we have, whatever new trend we do, it's being copied and patented and sold and bottled and shipped exponentially. The words out of our mouth, it's rap lyrics or R&B or whatever we do culturally, it's exported immediately. Now, East Indian, the Arabs, Asians, when they come to America, they do everything within. You can't name me 5 Asian rappers. They got rappers. They got R&B singers. They got the same thing we got.
Right.
They're better than us. But the point is, they got the same thing we got. There's a whole genre of music in India that we never heard before that's banging. But
they do be rocking.
They keep it within their subgroup, though. They keep it within themselves. Going back to the 60s, when integration came, we have been the only race of people in America who tried to integrate with other groups. No other group comes here and fight and make noise and damn near go to jail every day to get into another nationality's neighborhood.
Right.
They get to their own neighborhoods. They create their own Chinatowns or German towns, a little Irish towns, a little Italy's amongst themselves throughout their nationality. Some Asian cultures, when they open up hair stores, I found out that they bring, you know, their kinfolks with them. First of all, they're on a work visa. I think it's like 7 to 9 years now. So they get to be here tax-free for 6-7 years without paying taxes. But nevertheless, they work in the store for free. And once that store hits, I think 100,000, the store owner pays out their person to open their own store. And it's copy, paste, repeat. Copy, paste, repeat. You've never seen anybody working in an Asian store or restaurant but them.
Yeah.
Their own nationality.
And that's a couple of things. And this ties directly with money, because money is a tool that you can build. And in order to effectively build, you have to nation build. In order to nation build, you got to have a nationality. So you can start applying these simple practices in various industries, because that is a great example of the hair care industry. We can go through every industry and identify professionals that we have amongst us who are some of the greatest that we've ever seen. Just imagine if we all come together and work together and supported one another in that spirit, like other nations do. Keyword nations, nationality, character. You have those basic things. Then we could talk money. But if you ain't got no character, how are we going to talk about economics?
Oh, I said, Teresa said, only when our women get away from competing with one another will our nation rise. See, that's part of the mandate of the Moorish Science Temple. It's to uplift fallen humanity, and you are fallen humanity. And another statement that was made was a nation cannot rise.
Can only rise as high as its women.
As its women.
And in America, the women are 80% of the make 80% of the consumer purchase decisions in homes.
Yep.
Women make more money than men, believe it or not.
Black women are the big consumers, period.
Consumers. So it's like, to the sisters' point, yeah, we're going to need our sisters to lead a lot more. Not in all aspects of life, but there are some areas to where we got to examine the current leadership and cause that shift. And to her point, stop competing, learn how to cooperate. And it's not just sisters, it's brothers, it's all of us as a people. We gotta heal from this European psychology that causes us to gauge our wealth and our value off of the amount of slaveholders that we can accumulate. Because on every one of them currencies that we've been chasing for years, they're all slaveholders. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those are all slaveholders, right?
I thought you were about to go in with it. Like,
now, I ain't gonna go too in, because I ain't trying to be, condescending or nothing. I just want to point out the obvious, which is, okay, all these papers, this is all slaveholders. So I believe that and I'm not saying myself, but I'm just speaking to the general opinion, which is no proof of truth, that we often see displayed amongst our people. Big bank take little bank. He got $500,000 of them slave notes in his pocket, so he's the man. He only got 2 of them. He's sorry. Psychoneurosis, there it is. And honestly, you was the first brother I ever heard use that term, and I've been using it ever since.
Psychoneurosis. Let's read through because see, here's what we have to do first, family. We have to first provide what's called a prognosis. The prognosis sets up the diagnosis. Once we understand the prognosis, then we can diagnose you. So we have, when I say we, myself and the good brother, have a good understanding of what the prognosis is when it comes to the so-called Negroes, Black folk, etc., who are not only looking for those slaveholders to go in their pockets, but they're operating under the name of the slaveholders as well. This is all a contribution to what's called psychoneurosis, which was coined in the 1960s as a mental disorder affecting the spirits, personality, motives, and actions of Negroes who have failed to rid themselves of psychological ills they have occurred from their collective experience with foreigners, marked by a distorted idea of self and others. Psychoneurosis results in unnatural patterns of perception, logic, thought, speech, behavior, and emotional expression. It is accompanied by various other unnatural dispositive manifestations, such as, but not limited to, self-group depreciation, the champion of non-Black ideas, right, conversions to non-Black religions, xenophilia, especially Anglican-centric xenophilia, cognitive dissonance, sexual deviation, escapism, dual or double consciousness, conflicting loyalties, and unscrupulous liberalism, differing in degrees of severity from one individual to another. The main thrust of psychoneurosis causes Black people to be unreasonable, contradictory, and utterly dependent upon the culture, products, charity, aid, sympathy, and or consciousness of other people, especially white people. The term psychoneurosis was coined in the mid-1960s by Robert H. DeCoy. He wrote the book called The Nigga Bible.
May I?
Please. I yield the floor.
Now, praise Allah. Noble Drew Ali called this mental slavery. And this mental slavery has led to economic slavery. And Marcus Garvey said that any leadership that would teach you to rely on another leadership is a leadership that will enslave you.
God damn.
So if we could acknowledge that, and just ask yourself these very legitimate questions. How do you gauge your value? Are you using money? Is that how you critique yourself and evaluate the type of character and the type of citizen, the type of person that you are? Is that what you're using as your determining factor? Who's on the money? What backs the money? What gives the dollar its value? Is it just psychological? Is there any actual tangible resources that back it?
It is psychological, though.
It is. Yeah, it's all psychological. Ain't nothing backing it.
but the psychological piece is the energy that we give it.
That's right.
We don't realize is money is always related to liquid.
Who we? Can you zoom in on that? And look, you touching on what we touched on in the presentation, but praise Allah.
the money is always considered as liquid. You liquidate your assets, you liquidate your account, liquidation or what they call money flows. They call it when you take money and you throw it in the club, it turns into rain droplets back to water, and this water is controlled. The currency is controlled by banks on a river, and the energy that we give to this said money is psychological. We can have $1,000 in our pocket, brother, and mentally we have it all together. We get to our last dollar and we feel like our world nothing has changed around us.
Right.
Other than our thinking mechanism. Your thoughts are the cause of it all, family. And so a man think of, so shall he be. So when you think that the money is the value, boy, you got it twisted, man. Fiat. Let's talk about fiat real quick. We'll talk about fiat. We'll talk about legal tender. And then we're going to talk about getting y'all mind right on what the difference between assets and liabilities are. Talk about a little bit about credit as well. Credit is king. I've always heard credit is king. Cash rich, but asset poor. Talk about portfolios. That's not talked about enough in our community. I know a little bit about a portfolio or what a good portfolio should look like. With investments in properties and putting things into a trust.
Yeah, I want to touch on a few of these terms. Now, look,
for sure.
I was licensed for life insurance, health insurance, and annuities.
Yep. 2012
through 2014. Did life insurance. I ended up not pursuing it any further because it really wasn't a passion. It was something I just did for chasing the money. But I just wanted to say that so let y'all know I'm somewhat knowledgeable in that space, in this realm. And I believe the most important thing for us to be doing right now, again, is building up some assets and learning about these two financial structures. You got the Federal Reserve System, you got the blockchain technology. They're two different systems, and they're both operating simultaneously right now. One is rising, one is falling. One has liabilities, one has assets. I think it's in the terms of portfolios. Let's talk discharging bills and 1099.
We can't talk about discharging debt now. How do you discharge? Like
I'm gonna tell you,
for real, bro. We don't have to play the money game at all because
whatever
it's just going to be another Ponzi scheme.
Exactly, it's a rabbit hole, bro. These rabbit holes we keep running down, and I'm not personally interested in all that stuff anymore. My focus is a very simple, direct focus: build assets.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how you build assets. Okay, discharging debt. The country is what, $31 trillion in debt?
Yep.
The whole fiat system is a debt-based system. The only way to discharge the debt is to stop using the debt-based system.
So you don't become the debtor. Yeah.
That's the only way to discharge it. All right. all that, I'm gonna just touch on this briefly because like I don't think that stuff is necessary. I think most people ain't ready for UCCs and none of that stuff. Most people shouldn't even touch all that stuff. And I'm not with pushing and promoting all of that, those different concepts. I don't think, especially not publicly, I think it's not something that most people should be even brought about in the public. And when you talk about trust, that stuff is private. Yep. A lot of this stuff that people want to talk about publicly, these are your private affairs. Why would you why would you show your private in public? Why would you do that? You're supposed to, if you're a private citizen, then be private and live your life, get your affairs in order, and do what you got to do. And then when it comes to the public, bring a product or a service to the public that's going to help us move forward. That's where the dialogue needs to go. I think a lot of this stuff people have a lot of these rabbit holes, and I see lots of people talk about it. And look, I'm just not that guy. I'm a simple guy. and I'm not about to get into all this extra stuff. I just know that I got to eat. All right. I need food, shelter, equality, water, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The 12 jewels of Islam. That's what I'm trying to make sure I got for me and my babies. Okay. I want to make sure that if my children need a home, daddy always got a roof for you. Always. No matter what. Daddy got you. My children are hungry. Daddy going to make sure you eat. Daddy ain't going to send you to the store. Daddy going to be the store. Daddy ain't going to send you to McDonald's. I'm not going to call no random chef. I'm going to call a chef. I'm calling my brother Chef Ponda to chef it up for us. And that's the type of the marketplace that I think we need to be talking about. Like, if we really want to get serious, all that extra stuff, I call that stuff small talk. Yeah. That ain't a priority for me. And I don't think it's a priority for us as a people in the grand scheme of things right now. And I'm going to use an example, right? When I worked in the grocery industry, I used to be a store manager years ago as well. Yep. I can look at a profit and loss statement, the numbers in your store, and tell you the issues in your store. Okay. If I did one store I ran, the meat department did $20,000 a week in sales. The produce department did about $10,000 a week in sales. In that store, the grocery crew stocked very slow, high turnover, high theft, high shrink, low morale. Why? You hire from the community. The community was sick, and they were consuming this poison. I get to another store, produce doing 20,000, meat department doing 10,000. Best stock crew I ever seen. Morale is high. Ain't nobody stealing. Productivity is high. There's a direct relation to what we're consuming and how it impacts our mood, our morale, our productivity, and the numbers. The numbers.
Wait a minute, bro. You said because of the mental health of the community,
yes,
that affected the sales of the store.
Yes, you can look at a profit and loss statement, which is the monthly breakdown of all the finances that come through a business. And in that statement, it'll tell you where your sales were. So I noticed a trend in all the stores that were in the inner city, where the so-called black people, Asiatics are. Everybody's eating meat, frozen food, okay? Damn. All this toxin. And guess what? The community is sick, okay? I'm constantly got call-ins in my store. I constantly
say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
I like those little ads. I like that. But yeah. Whoa. So and this is all in the spirit of consumption, because again, I'm just trying to hammer that point around the consuming aspect of us in America. All our people are doing is consuming and overdoing. That's why you got so many people obese, so many people experiencing so much stuff. So it's like, we need to focus on building assets, growing our food, providing the basics that we need. Sincerely, that's the only thing that's going to protect us moving forward. Yeah. Okay. You can diversify your currency and get as much stuff as you need. But look, if you can't feed your babies, if you can't provide shelter, water, the basics for a community, the basic infrastructure that we need, then you about to be irrelevant moving forward. Buy gold, yes or no? My question to you is this: whatever you choose to buy, and use your form of money, your medium of exchange.
Mhm.
Remember, money is the medium of exchange. It's not what you are exchanging. It's the medium. So if you use gold, okay, what do you have to trade for gold? What assets do you have to trade for gold? How many people do you know are going to accept gold for value for the purchase of goods and services? And what goods and services are those that are going to be accepted by the community? Because the world already tried a gold reserve. That's how we got to where we at today in America. It started on a gold reserve.
Yep.
So history tells us that it may not be the brightest idea to go back down that road again. So
I'll touch on real quick. It's a good answer too, and we'll circle back to the gold because we have to realize the idea of the Federal Reserve came by way of what they call the gold standard and the gold act. When they recalled all the gold, money used to have on the front. It used to say redeemable in silver, or redeemable in gold. You could take your paper money into a bank and get that your weight in gold. You can get it like that. Now it doesn't say that. We're going to talk about that in a second. What the money of the paper says now, and go down rabbit hole just a little bit. Let's talk about a trust real quick. What is a trust? A trust is a fiduciary agreement that allows a third party or a trustee to hold assets on the behalf of the beneficiary or the beneficiaries. Why I bring up the word trust? Because every state, all 48 colonies in North America are bound by a trust. All of them. Why did I make that comment? Because every state has a seal. Every state has a charter. And the chartered members of the board of trustees for said charter are the beneficiaries.
Yep.
We're really the beneficiaries, but they're saying that we're gonna monitor this estate for them. All 48 estates, land lots, that they are acting as the ecclesiastical authority, because that's why a church is on every corner too, by the way. If there's a this is coming under what's called canon law or ecclesiastical authority. This is like eminent domain and manifest destiny, things of that nature, right? And this is going all the way back to how they acquired the land in the first place, because everything on the land is the land. What do I mean by that? A house is just a fucking tree, y'all. A house is just a tree. That's it. Broken up plywood. Somebody told me, I just paid my house off. I said, the house is paid off, and Home Depot got the check for the lumber. The house been paid off. Do you own the land that the house sits on? And that's how we see our people down in communities, like grandma and aunties paid the house off, but they lost the house anyway. I thought the house paid off. The house is paid off. The mortgage, the debt pledge, been paid off, right? At a high interest rate. But now the property, because they don't own the land, they don't own the soil. The property tax is going up, and they can't afford the property tax every year. So they lose the house anyway. Buy land. The brother's telling you what to buy. Also, I'm gonna speak my 2 cents and say, buy some land. You have to own some of this dirt. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad will ask a question: how many square miles of habitable land do we have on the earth? That question was preceded by a question: how much does the planet weigh?
Yeah.
This was important to understand because we have to own, there's over 7 million square miles of habitable land on earth. You have to own you a lot, an acre or two. This gives you leverage, don't it?
In a sense, yeah. I can definitely see that. I mean, I have a couple things. Could you go back to that definition real quick? I want to
trust.
No, yeah, the one you had to trust, because it's something I want to hit on that, touch on that as well. The key thing I like to focus on is what a trust holds. It holds what? Assets.
For sure.
Assets. I cannot stress assets. We need assets. And I would present this perspective as it relates to the concept of buying land, because I do get it, and but I've had this burning question that always comes to me when I think about this concept, right? Who am I buying the land from? And I'm gonna just put these as rhetorical questions, and I don't really, we don't necessarily got to get into them, but I just want to just touch on and just present the concept, because this is what I really struggle with around this. Who am I buying the land from? How did they get it? And is it mine if I bought it with worthless money? Is it?
Well, you have to understand, you guys made an agreement for the medium of exchange. They agreed, if you give me, I don't know, 100,000 of these pieces of paper, then you can have this land. That's the agreement that they agreed with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But don't we recognize, I mean, and this is just a thought. Everybody know we Aboriginal, indigenous, they use these terms all the time. So are we buying our land back from the people that stole it from us?
No.
Who we buying it from?
No.
And you know, and look, I'm just presenting this, and look, I'm not really trying to get into like too deep into it.
No. I completely understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
it goes back to what I just said before. All 48 territories, all 48 estates are owned by trustees. How did they come into acquisition of the land? Was under ecclesiastical authority, under the Indica Terra Covina, and under the Treaty of Paris, the Second Treaty of Paris, that divided the lands up to say, all right, since we took the shit, yeah, you might have been here first, but you can't protect it. It's just like if you right now go get 145 acres of land somewhere in Virginia and try to start your own village, you can't protect it. I just come take it from you. I don't care what you got. You ain't got more guns than me. And that's the attitude that they had about it. You know, we're sensitive to it. Well, we were here first, right? But you couldn't protect it. So finders, let's say losers, weepers, finders, keepers. And that's what it has come to, unfortunately. Now, what they did immediately, of course, you already know, is they secured it. They secured it with bonds. They made it an asset. Assets are non-transferable unless you can lay a claim, unless you can prove a claim to it, first of all. Yeah, we're indigenous. This is my land. Prove it. You can't prove it because you're basing it off the history that we taught you. Unless you talk to grandma, a great grandma, you cannot prove it. You can believe it. You can have strong feelings towards it, but there's no irrevocable proof that this is our land.
I'm gonna just read this one other oral statement,
Yes,
and I don't want to go too deep into it, but in the spirit of just honoring the prophet, I'm gonna read this. The holy prophet told the Moors, "Children, you are at home, and the European is 5,000 miles from home, and he is going to have to take on some water." So, if this is not the land of your foremothers and your forefathers, and if the whole financial system that we've been operating under has been operating off the petrodollar, because that's the only thing that's been giving it value is the oil they stole from the land and overseas, but it ain't backed by nothing for real. So just the perspective that I have is like, I think the most important thing for us to do, again, and I'm gonna be redundant in this, is identify and build assets as a people and understand how to trade those assets and function as a community, and to really move in the spirit of nationhood and nation building. Because if we're dealing with a bunch of fake stuff and we're proving it's fake and we know it's fake and the nations of the earth know it's fake, and if that prophecy of us walking by a $20 bill and not picking it up is real, and if all these contracts, to your point, these contracts that we signed, they didn't have full disclosure. So if the contract didn't have full disclosure, is it really a valid contract? Just things to think about. If it's not, you didn't even disclose the full terms. I didn't agree with this with full understanding, and so just something to think about.
Yeah. I don't. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. I definitely am. So, as we all know, as we all should know, the money that we have now is fiat. It's fraudulent. It's only good because we make it, because of the value that we place on it. What you said earlier about the value system. It's only popular because of the value that we put on it.
That's right.
We place the value on the money by saying a $10 bill is worth $10. Says who? Says the agreement. I'm a chef. I say this plate costs you $15. We have an agreement because you give me a 10 and a 5. I agree to accept that medium of exchange for my services, which was cooking for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we could do is let the brother keep saying, in so many words, is say to hell with what the Europeans created. I'm a chef. He's this. She's a baker. He's this. Hey, what about all 10 of us that's got our own fucking community and we all agreed to take, I don't know, a piece of napkin. This is going to be our medium of exchange. And we make that piece of napkin a bonding paper between our community. And we only exchange amongst ourselves for every goods and service protection that we need. We provide it for ourselves. I'm the police of our community. You are the community members. You say we're going to give you $50,000 every year to make sure our streets are safe. I'm going to agree to the exchange because we have a medium of exchange that we all can agree to. So with China and with Russia and with the African country, Kenya, I think it was, what they did was they got on the phone, talked to China. China like, shit, we got X amount to back our money up. Russia like, we got X amount to back our shit up. Well, let's put it together. These are sworn enemies, some of these fucking countries who all got together. Same thing Muammar Gaddafi was trying to do. Mm-hmm. They all got together, the North African Union, but they all got together and they all agreed to have each other back. We're going to use one currency. Let's use the Chinese yen. Let's use the yen. Everybody agree? Everybody agree. All right, Russia, how many assets do you have? Mm-hmm. Russia, pull its assets out. Okay, that looks good. China, what y'all got? China, like, you know what we got. And assets, they all agreed they were asset rich. Then they brought Iran in it. You know, Iran got kingdom money.
Right.
Iran got Ottoman Empire money. For real. That's the old Persian army money they got right there. Ancient money. They decided to aggregate their money too. So we can do the same thing, family. We can aggregate our resources, our skill set. How many barbers we have? How many beauticians do we have? How many brothers could do lawn service? How many sisters could do interior design? How many brothers can build houses? How many plumbers, electricians do we have? How many chefs we have? How many we have? We haven't. We're just giving our services to another group of people because we decided that their standard of currency is more valuable. Once we decide their money don't mean shit, like the prophet say, man, you throw 20 on the ground and walk over this shit. It's the power that you give it, people.
Yeah, it's literally, we've accepted European psychology as a people. And because of this European psychology, we're not thinking for ourselves. And we're watching this stuff happen before our very eyes. And hopefully we're learning from these other nations. And one thing that we can recognize, they're all moving as nations and they're working together. And they're trading their resources, to your point. That's what we should be doing. So every individual that can hear my voice, you need to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what resources do you have to offer to the community?
That's it.
What do you bring to the table? Because if you don't bring anything to the table, then you ain't helping us eat right now. Straight up. And I want to read something too from the Constitution. And it speaks to this entire context. Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution of the United States of America, which we should be enforcing. And it reads, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. I'm just stop there. And I think if we can interpret that however you choose, but I mean, it says that no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in the payment of debts. So it's fair to say when Nixon took the U.S. off of the gold standard in the 70s and the states started accepting these Federal Reserve notes that aren't backed by anything as a payment of debt, that was a breach of the Constitution then. So so there's so many different things going on right now. And if I could bring us just to concentrate on the remedy, and I'm gonna use the same word, y'all know what I'm about to say. What do we need to be doing, y'all? What should we be focusing on right now? Building what? Let's see if anybody in the listening audience is taking notes and really understanding the simplicity around the resolution. What should you be doing as a citizen, as a man, as a woman, as a person with sound mind, good character? Do you have race pride? Do you believe that our conditions can improve? Are you industrious? Like this time to look within, because every tongue got to confess his own. Everybody got to tend for themselves right now.
Yep.
So if you ain't got nothing to bring, man, hey, because money ain't enough. We need more than cash.
Let me see if I can pull this up real quick because I want to talk about a couple things on here real quick. And it's just stuff that's been in your face the whole time, family, that you may have not even seen, but we're gonna deal with it right now. Hold on. There we go. All right. Let's deal with this part first. It says this note is legal tender. Let's stop right there for a second. In your mind, in your European psychology mind, I'm not gonna use European psychology because if you did have a Eurocentric brain, then you would understand that every language has laws, lexicon. It's the law of the language, right? When there's a comma, there's a period. There's something called the parts of speech, adjectives, nouns, pronouns, so on and so forth. Sentence structure. 4 sentences give you a paragraph. There's a certain laws in it, right? When you see the word legal does not mean lawful.
That's right.
Legal and lawful are not the same thing. It's illegal. The word legal typically falls under what's called statutes and ordinances. Lawful is law. That's law, right? Nobody's above the law. No, as you can see in the news lately, nobody's above the law.
Yeah. Right? If I may, consent makes something legal.
Come on.
You consented, therefore it's legal. It's not lawful, but it's legal.
Legal. This note, that should have threw you off right there. This note, what the fuck is a note? It's a Federal Reserve note at the top of the paper. You see that? And it's marked. You see what that F? That's marked by a certain Federal Reserve. All the F notes come out of Atlanta, Georgia. They're printed in Atlanta. They tell you where the shit is printed at. This note is a legal tender. What is tender? We can look it up. But just write these words down.
Yeah.
Tender. For all debts. Wait a minute. What debt? Both public and private. National debt and foreign debt. Now, this debt is owed to the nationals. Who are the nationals? What is the national debt? Who is owed that national debt?
National, like nationality? Because they kind of sound like they're the same.
Right. The debt belongs to the nationals. Now, the Europeans are not the nationals. They're naturalized. They're not nationalized. They're still German, or they're still Yugoslavian, or they're still what their forefathers were.
Without doubt or contradiction.
They're still that. So who does the national debt belong to? Why did they create this Masonic emblem called a dollar? We're gonna deal with it. You would notice this is always dark. This is the moon. This is the sun. This is for silver. This is for gold. This is the Masonic carpenter's tool, the square. This is the altar. And the Masonic Lodge sets the treasure and the secretary. Somebody playing games with y'all, man.
Can you show the owl? Can you zoom? You probably can't zoom in.
Yeah. Let me get over there. Hold on. Hold on. Somebody playing games with y'all, man. Hold on. I want to get this owl. I forgot about the owls on there. Once I show you the owl, I'm gonna show y'all who the nationals are.
And while you're looking for that, I just want to say something to the people. It's very important, y'all. We learn how to read this stuff. It's time for us to think for ourselves and learn how to work together. Because if you sold your soul for $1, or if you sold your people out for this, or if you cross people for this, shame on you.
That's it right there.
Now, what's the science of the owl? Who would put an owl on $1?
Wow,
This is
right there.
Yeah, what's the sign? You know, and look,
All
great
right.
stuff to spark and stimulate thought, my brother.
That's it. That's it. And the infamous words of the good brother Dane Calloway, I'm just here to make y'all think, man. Shout out to Dane Calloway for doing the work too, man. Now, this pyramid belongs to the Nationals. Let's talk about this real quick because I talked about it before in here. This pyramid actually belongs to the National, dealing with the national debt.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said this is Babylon. No, no,
Yeah.
no, not at all. So this pyramid belongs here. I showed you before. I'll show you again. This pyramid belongs here in America. That's an American pyramid.
Yep.
This is the whole. They don't came and took the fucking land over.
Yep.
They came and took the land over, and they're reselling. Well, they selling y'all shit. They let everybody else get a piece first with things called what was it called? Hedge rights. Hedge rights. Let me show you this shit real quick. Where they divided the land up and gave it to all the Europeans first. They gave farmers land out west to farm with, and then gave them more money to do it. How do we come out of this dilemma? It seems like we ain't got no win.
Hey, playing in this system, I'm gonna just quote Garvey again. Any leadership that teaches you to rely on another leadership is a leadership that will enslave you. If we rely on another leadership, another nation, to give us the guidance on how we are to exchange and trade our goods and services amongst one another, then we are bound to be enslaved. And ain't no way around that. If we don't be industrious, if we don't start cultivating our own acres of land, start working with our hands and building and providing the basic essentials for ourselves and our posterity, then we are destined to be enslaved. And if we're not, I'm going to quote Garvey again. If you're not willing to do what other races have done, what other nations have done, then you must prepare to die. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothings. Quote Marcus Garvey. This is how Marcus Garvey was talking to our people about our behavior in the 20s. Like not the 2020s, but the 1920s. We're talking over 100 years ago. So, yeah.
I gotta real quick.
Dr. Claude Anderson
Can you hear
discusses his new book,
Yes.
A Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. He'll break down how recent political moves on taxes, judge appointment, not be considered. Provides answers and solutions to how and why Black people have been consigned to the lowest level of America's ranking order of social and economic acceptability.
They just try to use very broad, ambiguous terms to make Black, for the simple fact that it's the third rail in American society. Nobody wants to touch it because if they touch it, all of a sudden that obligates white folk to do something in response to the fact that they have maltreated Black folk throughout 500 years in this country. And they systematically maldistribute almost 100% of all this nation's resources. That's all the land, wealth, power, resource, privileges, rights, and controls of all.
There's those assets Brother Kenick mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He just named all the assets. All the assets were traded or taken, stolen. There was a 100-year war, by the way. We just give it up. We just give it up. Then we fought our ass off. But unfortunately, by them securing the assets, the gold in 1849 out in California, securing the labor force. The South had one of the biggest labor force there was. There was no medium of exchange when it came to currency. It was called sharecropping. You take your half, I take my half. You give me seed and tools, I pay you back at the end of the year. It was a whole entire barter system. There was no money during slavery, y'all. Don't get it twisted. There was some form of coinage, of course, right? I'm not saying that there was no monetary system, but in the early stages of slavery, there was no medium of exchange in the sense we see it today. It was always backed by something, a good or a service. I owe you. Credit actually started by people trusting people to pay them back later. Fronting or loaning. What happens is you have a group of what's called Lombards. The group of Lombards who are really barrisans out of Europe. These are Jewish merchants who came to the South and set up post exchange in exchange for credit. This was the beginning what sourced Black folks. Imagine coming out of slavery as a nation, 1865. From 1865 to 1879, there was a huge leap for Black folks to catch up with the Joneses. Black folks had never had what they had up until the 1920s. I mean, collectively. Of course, there was Tulsa, Oklahoma, but that was 1920s. There was Weeksville, New York, which was around the late 1800s as well. There was a huge wage gap between Black folks and white folks. Black folks were the laborers, the working class folks, who, if they had to go earn a dollar, they could earn a dollar. Here's what somebody told me real quick. Now, pass the mic. A Black man in the 1960s and 50s could support his family of 5, off of one paycheck. Wife didn't work at all. Wife didn't have to work. Black women didn't work like that back then. Y'all didn't have to. This wanting a man to take care of me attitude sensation, and the man is bringing home the paycheck given to his wife, that was going on in the 50s and 60s. Now a Black man with a master's degree out of college struggles to take care of a family of 2.
And he in debt.
What? Crazy thing.
Mental and economic slavery, man. That's all it is, y'all. It's mental slavery. What year was the Federal Reserve Act passed? 1913. What year was the Morris Science Hub of America founded? 1913. How is it that we learned and we seem to know more about the Federal Reserve Act and money, and we focus around that, when at the same year the Morris Science of America was founded? And this mental slavery that we're dealing with, that comes from the term psychoneurosis. It comes from accepting European psychology, accepting these brands, these identities, and a bunch of nonsense straight after the gods of Europe, of whom we know nothing. Literally. Look at the paper. He just showed examples of the paper. Those are all European gods that you don't even know nothing about. Everybody on the paper was a slaveholder. So again, why are we focusing on these people still? When we gonna build assets, get out the victim mode of woe is me? No, we the mothers and fathers of civilization. So it's time we act like it. It's time we take our place. We learn how to work together. And I'm grateful that we're in this time in history. And I'm grateful that Allah sent us a prophet who gave us the guidance and the foresight to where now we don't panic. When I see certain things happen in the news and the media, if I need help, I grab the book Cujo wrote, Honor to the Grand Sheikh Cujo L, and I read that book. It's like, wow, these are great examples. There's lots of prophecies that have unfolded. There's lots of things that are happening. So you don't need to panic. You don't need to move in fear. You just need to really look in the mirror, examine yourself. Let's start with your consumption. Are you a consumer or a producer, to the point that was made earlier? How do you got to start making that transition out of the consumer world into the production world, where you start manufacturing and producing goods, creating goods. And the more of us that can do that, and we work together because we want to help each other, then we can. Malcolm was a prophet sent by God. Michael X. Islam, my brother Michael X. I would love to work with you a little bit further around our beloved brother Malik El Shabazz and learn about what he did when he got further than that X. But that's you in the step. And I think that's important for us to know. We're on the road.
And then Malcolm X was a prophet. He's a prophet. He's a prophet.
I mean,
because I asked your brother, what is a prophet?
Look, right? I mean, I feel you. But
what is a prophet?
The first step, Run the Jewels said, look at these slave masters poisoning your dollars. Run the Jewels said, look at these slave masters. Yeah. Posing on your dollars. Yeah. Yep. Slaveholders on the dollars. And, you know, I can't stress this enough to my people if y'all hearing me. Get to a temple. For real. Because it takes finance to uplift a nation. So you can't talk about nationhood and finance and separate the two. Because finance is the management of large sums of money and people. That can only be done through a nation. It's bigger than money. So much bigger than money. Way bigger than money. We are distracted by money. And the money has become our priority to where we literally, hold on, I got to plug my laptop up. We tend to put money, which again is the medium of exchange, before the value of the exchange. What are you exchanging for the money? Most people don't even need half the money they got. That's why they're obese. People eat too much. People overconsume, doing too much. Greedy, avaricious, as it's taught.
I agree.
Yeah, so you know, I'm at a state right now, personally and professionally, to where we've been at this for many years. Okay, me and a good brother Ponder L here and Sister Sheila Seabreeze Bay, we went to the White House a couple years ago on behalf of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We've done a lot of things to help propagate the faith and advocate for who we are as a people to get us organized. We've pushed credit unions, financial institutions, a lot of different things. 3 years ago, we were presenting the CBDC before Fed Now even came out. So I feel like a lot of these things, our people ain't paying attention. And it's like now with the money, oh, they paying attention now. These last 3 days, man, my phone been ringing off the hook. I've heard from people I ain't talked to in 2-3 years. People I ain't seen and ain't heard from. And that's because of what's happening in the currency. And then I'm telling you, don't follow me. Don't look for me. Follow the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's all I'm doing.
Islam.
I'm not the founder. And he's the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He founded this, all of us. Honest to the brother, we did set aside a temple here in Virginia back in 2015. And we still here. We still here propagating the faith. Passed legislation. So look, these are just examples to where the government knows us. They recognize us. They honor us. Do you? Because that's what it boils down to. Like all the so-called black people, my people, we not black. My people, we aren't black. We aren't white. People aren't colors. People have nations, nationalities. And when you properly identify somebody according to their nationality, then you can honor them, the history and the heritage in which they come from and what they represent.
Islam.
So yeah, so you know, I just
on legislation here, but also thank you for your.
But we on the flow, man.
Yeah, praise Allah. You know, that was 2018, so that was 5 years ago.
Yep.
And that's us working to pass legislation in the spirit of Act 1.
Your leadership here in the Commonwealth of Virginia for making us a better place and creating more opportunity for more people all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. So we are honored to have you here in the gallery with us. You are welcome back anytime. And I would ask everyone, please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to all of the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Islam.
Y'all gotta take y'all position among the thousand men, man.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see.
Look, there's legislation being worked on right now out of Chicago by some Moors, some good Moors up there. Honest to the Grand Sheik Prince Noble. They're doing great work up there in Chicago right now, passing legislation to help further our cause and our interests. We need our people to get serious and to come home. The time is now. You know, you are a true American citizen. Your nationality was stripped away from you. And in the stripping of your nationality, we became mentally enslaved. And through the mental enslavement, we became economically enslaved. So now here we are looking at somebody else, expecting them to free us. And our people are panicking because the idea of the so-called black dollar, which don't exist, but we like to pretend it does, is going digital. So now what? Shut down a couple of industries, man. No more strip clubs.
They'll find a way.
She gonna walk in with a QR code on her or something.
Hey, listen, Magic City in Atlanta, they already got QR codes. They have
Oh no, this is terrible.
The goddamn booty. Just scan it, tip it.
Terrible, man. This is terrible. But this is why we need character. This is why we need nationality, y'all. We need character. Because look, realistically, man, most of us ain't ready for this.
Nah.
You're not ready. You're gonna panic. And we don't want you to panic. So that's why we're giving you the guidance and support. We've been emphasizing this stuff for years now. What do they say? The so-called black man was respected by the Ottoman Empire the way the U.S. treats Ukraine, which is a Nazi stronghold. Islamism. Look, the government is behind us, y'all. But we are black because black is a color of carbon, and the only carbon that comes from melanin is down the periodic table. I feel you. Well, not me. I'm not even gonna argue that belief.
But hold on. And this ain't the pick a job, because I think if you got your black ears on, talking about aggregating resources and assets, it kind of goes past your head a little bit. Brother, 27369. But we are black. Here's why we're black, though. Listen to why we're black. Black is the color of carbon, and the only color it comes in. Melanin is not on the periodic table of elements, but carbon is, and it's black. First of all, brother, all due respect, because this is me hosting on Crumb TV Network. You have a lot of smart people on the chat. It's a lot of Moors in here who understand that we are not Negro, black, and colored because of those are all titles given to us by slaveholders.
That's right. I like to touch it when you're done too. This title lasted for a period. And at the end of this period, we were taught that you must worship under your own fig and vine tree. And here's a time where you must proclaim your free national name. You have to do it. Black is not even a color. Black is the absence of color. The time
and making the comparison to carbon and melanin is green. It's dark green, not black. So your statement is flawed. Now that sounded great, but you have to realize you're amongst scholars. And we're not falling for that small talk no more, brother. And I advise, nor should you.
Look, and just let me touch that too on that commentary from that brother, because I understand his intent, and I love my people.
Pure intent. Yeah.
But y'all, that rhetoric, what's the proper term that may understand? It's non-cipher.
Non-cipher.
Okay, it don't work. Stop it. You know why? Because look, I'm gonna use the lessons in the Quran. Okay, according to all true and divine records of the human family, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family. Okay, so to the human family, ain't nobody no colors. Everybody got a nationality, and it's time we identify according to that. It's very, very simple. The shade of our skin is olive, from light olive to dark olive hue. That is the shade of our skin. And when you try to identify people as colors, you get into this black and white thing, which promotes color of law. And this is where this whole financial system has been raping us, because so-called black people, you don't get loans, you don't get access to capital, you don't get these resources. Why? Because look who's on the paper. You know, it's not for you. It was never for us. Okay, it's not even for the people anymore. It's literally a stronghold. If the nations, you got to look at what's happening. If nations around the country are saying we don't want that paper no more, that's part of the shift. So we need to get out of this colorable stuff. Deprivation of rights under color of law. Serious business. Serious business. It's time for us to really learn how the law works for us, because we can't. And this is going back to what I was saying earlier about the cooperative economics. If we trying to build a nation and nation build and really demonstrate true cooperative economics, and then hear somebody come with color of law, it just throws a wrench in the plans at times, and we ain't got time to be deciphering that all the time. So I encourage you, if you really believe that, I understand, and that hopefully I can interpret that properly and recognize that you have race pride and you love us as a people. I do too. So if you have race pride, if you believe our conditions can improve, and if you have sound mind and good character, then you should join the Moorish Science Temple of America, because then you will have the power to redeem your race. You cannot redeem us as a people if you cannot properly identify us as a people. I am a true American citizen, which means my civic duty, which deals with the rights and duties of citizenship. That's what I'm facilitating and fulfilling right now. And every citizen needs to know themselves, know who you are. You need to be able to enforce the Constitution. You have to be able to do for self and take care of yourself. If not, you become a slave and a dependent, and burden other people to try to feed you and take care of you, because all you want to do is consume all the time.
What that's called is ward.
Ward of the state.
If this is a ward of the state, a ward of the state is a person under government protection, children and adults with cognitive disabilities. Guess what you have by thinking you're fucking black? That is a cognitive disability. You think you're a crayon. It's okay. We're going to take care of you. We'll put a blanket on you, give you 3 meals a day. Just stay over in the corner. It's okay. We got you. Children and adults with cognitive disabilities can become wards of the state when they lack, what they say, a competent parent or trusted person to look out for them because of young age or incapacity, cannot care for themselves. By you identifying yourselves as crayons, you don't have a national standard, or you don't understand your nationality. This is also considered the condition which makes you a ward of the state. Now, not only are you a ward of the state, but it also makes you this right here.
There you go.
And because you are a minor, right, you don't have the
go back up. Now go back up right there. You hit it. The first one. What'd that say?
lesser importance, seriousness, significance. This makes you a minor. Now, a lot of us are proud to be minors, but from the word minor, the word minority comes from that, because you are a minority. You're in a lesser group. You're not capable to take care of yourself, so we'll take care of your bidding for you. Now, you can consume whatever you want. You just can't complain about a lot of stuff. You know, like your kids, they ready to turn 18, they're ready to move out. They can't take it no more. But unfortunately, they can't take care of themselves. So your children are subject to whatever condition you put them through in that household. And that's how we are now as grown adult people thinking we're Negro, blacks, and colors.
Bro,
now,
I just want to say one real thought you just sparked. You notice that the majority of people identify as Americans. The majority.
Facts.
Whether it's a Irish American, a Mexican American, Italian American, the majority of people identify as Americans. Even they call us Black Americans. We're not Black Americans. There's no such thing as a Black American or a white American or none of that stuff. There's no such thing as an African American. That's why you don't call people European Americans. You can't be from Europe and America, can you? You know, and these are things, again, I'm glad that term was thrown up there, psychoneurosis. And y'all, this all ties to the money game and the finance. It's all interconnected, because the mental slavery led to the economic slavery. So if you can't get your mind right, if you don't have the financial literacy and comprehension and understanding, then you're not able to maneuver properly. And I got to say this too, honest to the good brother MOI for how he's doing these shows, because he's really showing you tips and strategies to effectively research, how to effectively just grow. And then you can do this on your own time. In conjunction to you coming to the temple, you know, you need that too. But you got to be doing some real research and due diligence and application. So, Islam.
And I'm going to touch on a couple more things before we get to wrap the show up. But before we go any farther, because we had like 200 motherfucking people on here, that's going crazy all over. the platform. Do not forget to tap in. crumtv.info. I'm sorry, crumtv.info/events. Check us out June 16th to 18th. We will be down in the beautiful state of Florida, for this Juneteenth retreat. I'll be going live speaking on Juneteenth, my live lecture called Fuck Juneteenth. And I'm gonna tell you why. We're definitely gonna deal with it. But brother, see, this is the part right here. I've done this lecture about 2 or 3 years. People are like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Yeah. And this is no dagger at the event itself, Juneteenth. We need every reason to celebrate as a people, but we're just gonna go with it with the truth. So live lectures, vendors, just a cool time, man. Yoga, good food, just a chill vibe for 48 hours before you guys go into the July month. So check us out, man. Juneteenth. I think tickets are almost sold out. Actually, we only got like 11 slots available. I think we halfway through tickets already, but definitely check in with Brother Crom, man. Tap in with him. And the list of events what we're going to do is also, it should be on the website now, kind of an itinerary. If I'm misspeaking, then just be patient as we post that information. We got a little bit of time between now and then, but definitely consider it. Put it on your calendar. Check us out for shizzle. A couple more points, and I'm gonna pass the mic while it's hot. But understand the difference between legal and lawful. Lawful and legal, legitimate, litis means being in accordance with law. Lawful may apply to conformity with law of any sort, such as natural law, divine law, common law, or canon law. Let's harp on that for 1 second. Because you're proclaiming to be Negro, Black, colored folk, African Americans, niggas, Negroes, you're out of divine law. You're out of natural law. The brother told you earlier that according to all true and divine records, which could be common records or canonical records, Hebrew Israelites, the Moabites, that's canon law. We are operating outside of those laws. So if you're proclaiming to be these things, you're really an outlaw.
Literally.
You're really outside of the form of law. Let's continue. Legal applies to what sanctioned by law or conformity with the law, especially as it is written or administrated by courts. So legal applies to administrative things, annex courts, statutes, city ordinances, which are devised and comprised by certain municipalities or communities at large when they go to their town hall meetings and they decide that a noise ordinance should be invoked by 9 p.m. for certain communities, and they get that passed. Now, if you break that noise ordinance, you just committed an illegal act. You didn't break the law because there was no law established for it, but it is an illegal act. So community members who are also called citizens who pay their taxes or their dues for a community to make sure the community is functioning at its highest propensity. They don't want the trash in their community. They don't want the garbage. They don't want no unproducing person in their community.
That's right.
We call it racism, but it's really economics.
Wow. And then if I could just come back and add to that, law by definition is the regime that orders human activity through the systematic application of the force of a politically organized society. So you have to be a politically organized society in order to even deal with law.
Damn.
Background music.
Yeah, that's me. Keep talking. We got you. We hear you.
And so so that's what law is. We have to return to nature's law. We have to return to divine law. We have been operating out of law for many for a long time. Great question. How many states have more? Every state. I literally can travel to any state and I can contact the sheik there, the grand sheik or the grand governor of the state, and I could be directed to the group of Moors there. Everywhere you got so-called black people, you got Moors, because many of us know we're not black people and we have enough courage for truth And we love our people enough to where we're willing to teach this because we want to get to the finance that it takes to uplift the nation. But you can't do that without properly identifying yourself. So we got to get out of this ego and thinking we're going to argue with people all the time. And it's great to use research. Like I said earlier, the research he's doing online is phenomenal. But don't nothing beat real life application. You notice he opened up telling you about things that we've done in real life. All right. After we do the real life stuff, then we can go and do research to further support it. But we got the greatest of lessons, which is the experience, to tell you this works if you do it properly. And that's what we need to be focusing on. So as it relates to this money shift and the money game and all that, a few things, you know, because I know we coming close to the end. So I just want to emphasize it. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't stress. Do your research. Learn how the financials work. I'll share the link. Well, can you share that link if you get a chance, brother, so people can know? Or go to Eventbrite. Type in, go to Eventbrite. Type in Financial Literacy 2023. It is an event going down. It's this Thursday, 7 to 9. You can go up there, donate, get you a ticket, and tune in. And it's going to be very educational. There's a PowerPoint. It is a lecture that I'll be leading in conjunction with our treasurer. And we'll be breaking down the basic terms around finances. What is the blockchain? What is the history of the Federal Reserve? Right? What is the history of central banking and all these different things? And once we cover all that stuff, you found it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Instagram. Instagram on YouTube.
Yeah, so just educate yourselves, people, and let's build up these assets, okay? And learn to love instead of hate. Seriously, learn to love instead of hate. Love one another, love yourself, okay? And don't panic, y'all. This is our time. We're going to be all right.
Appreciate it, big bro. Hey, man, listen, man. Thanks for tapping in. From TV Network, it's a dope-ass episode, man. Get those tickets, man. Meet us in Florida. I put the link in the chat for the Eventbrite link that we're talking about. If you want to learn more about it, go to Instagram and give the good brother a follow, man. Check them out, man. We're here, boy. From TV Network, MOI, we in the building, man. Brother Kenick, appreciate it, brother. Hold tight backstage for a second, brother. We in this shit, man. Hold on. I'm trying to come every week with somebody. I don't know who I'm gonna have tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna figure it out though. In the meantime, hit that goddamn Cash App. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace, light, love, tranquility. What's today? What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Woden's Day. Get it in, middle of the week, Monday. I'm excited. That's a great ass show. Shout out to Prom, man. Shout out to the good brother, on earlier. Appreciate you, man. Another great episode. I'm out, man. Let me say.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.